Welcome to Season 4 of the Knack for Business podcast.
So we have a question for the audience. What if the very solution meant to restore your confidence after surgery was instead leaving you uncomfortable, disconnected, and unseen? That's what Simonne will talk about today. She'll share how Au Naturel Solutions is transforming breast prosthesis with all natural, sustainable materials, bringing back comfort, confidence, and dignity for survivors and communities often overlooked. Stay with us to hear how her journey as a survivor turned entrepreneur is breaking barriers in healthcare, creating equitable access, and building a future where healing is as natural as it should be. Our guest today is Simonne Cormier from Au Naturel Solutions. She's the founder of Au Naturel Solutions, a medical technology company dedicated to reimagining external breast prosthesis. As a breast cancer survivor turned entrepreneur, she saw the need for safe, sustainable, and comfortable alternatives to the traditional polyester and silicone options, which often cause skin irritation. Her company creates prosthetics using natural fibers such as bamboo, cotton, and alpaca, offering hypoallergenic and eco-friendly solutions for those experiencing lumpectomies, mastectomies, natural asymmetry, and also for the members of the 2SLGBTQI plus community. Simone, welcome. Absolute pleasure to have you here today. You have a favorite quote or saying you want to relate to anybody?
My favorite quote, it's by Brene Brown, and it's perfection is found in embracing the beauty of imperfection. And I think with all our unique attributes, breast cancer survivors have distinct imperfections. You know, we've come through surgeries, we've come through treatment, and those imperfections are merely what people see. And what I want to change is how you see yourself and how your clothing drapes and whatnot. So Brene Brown's quote about imperfection is bang on.
So, and having that personal experience of going through cancer, and you obviously found that the products that were available out in the market were uncomfortable, and there are other issues. What triggered the I've got an idea, and where did you come up with the idea for Au Naturel?
Well, my experience was back in 2016. A lot of the new technology was not out there yet. I struggled to find anything that really spoke to me. As I went through the process of purchasing or using prostheses that were given by different organizations, it just didn't work for me. And I go back to the conversation that my doctor had with me. I had estrogen and progesterone positive breast cancer, and his words to me were, you are to wear prostheses, then natural materials would be best suited. It took me a number of years to figure out exactly what that meant. And once I figured out endocrine disruption and the elements that really can contribute to that, for me, I knew that I needed to find an alternative. And the research that I did for myself spoke about natural materials, as my doctor had pointed out to me. What could I use? I can't use wool for myself, and I had to research something that could be used as the foam shell. So really, alpaca was the next item that I was able to incorporate into the prostheses, along with the bamboo, cotton, and a bit of spandex. And spandex is only there at about a 5 to 6%. And it's to give durability and elasticity for form. So once I had that in mind, I went to my own sewing room, my own sewing machine, and I looked at what shapes I needed to play with and how it would feel. The feeling is the most important part. If it's too heavy, if it's too light, if it's too rigid, it causes other problems that I didn't even recognize originally. Having something so customizable and being able to wear it from the moment you get up in the morning until the moment you go to bed at night is a gift. It's a gift of giving me the freedom to live my life the fullest. With the other prostheses, I just felt like there was a weight on my chest, or the hormonal imbalance was rearing its ugly head in sweats and overheating, and it just did not work for me. I was a public servant at the time, and I educated individuals on benefits publicly speaking to individuals. And when you're in overheat and overstimulation from your hormones, it does not bode well with the persona that you have. So I knew then when I discovered these new materials to use that I was onto something, and something that really worked for me.
I'm going to ask a question that's right, like direct. You find out you get a cancer diagnosis. There's that shock, that horror, that now what? You get the appointment, there's surgery. You go to you dread it, but you go to it. You wake up after the surgery and you're still alive. And then there's okay, and you're going to have to do this for a month to just get back to some level of what new normal looks like. The natural thing to happen would be decide I am a victim. That is a logical place to go. You made a conscious decision to not stay there. The two questions are, how long did you mope in that place of the new reality? What made you change? What brought you back?
Reflecting on the amount of support that I had during the whole process, I don't think I ever moped. I didn't have a poor me attitude. I just had things that I needed to get done. Surgery was one. It was not pleasant. There was a lot of issues dealing with drainage and whatever needed to heal. And it meant a lot of appointments. And I think that's the most difficult part is I didn't have a whole lot of issues before. So I didn't need a lot of medical help or medical intervention, if you will. But hearing the words from my own doctor and seeing the pain in her eyes when she revealed that I had breast cancer was probably the most difficult part of this journey because I knew that I had her support. I knew that in that office that day, I had my appointment in hand for an amazing surgeon that saw us the very next day. I was given resources to look at and to review with my husband that very night. And that we did. We didn't want to show up completely unaware of what all this meant. And I think that's the difference between surviving and thriving. And I really believe that women out there are thriving. We are surviving with a lot of emotional pain for something that we don't ask for. It changes how other people may look at us and how we may appear to people from the outside. And as I stated, I had a lot of support from the Breast Cancer Network here on Prince Edward Island, our breast cancer center and nurses, the whole staff is amazing. Drawing strength from that is what gave me the courage. And not once did I ever feel like there was any question about my survival. And I think that those are the
Right.
emotions that come to the surface.
I think it's interesting from the emotions, being told how you've got something, we have to address it. It affects the body in massive ways. There are hormones that are getting adjusted probably during the course of the treatment. The malaise itself, the cancer, also causes a shift in things. Taking something and you realize, okay, I'm hit. I've gotten past it. Now I have to use a prosthetic, and you realize, oh, the prosthetic's not so good. And so now you've taken it to the next level and you're going, hang on, I got a better way of doing this. Can you walk us through the journey of going, okay, let me substitute this out from that having a working model, a proof of concept, to I'm now producing product that is viable and available and sustainable.
Yeah. I think that in my own sewing room, I knew that I needed to create something that could be used in a woman's bra that would fit comfortably and stay securely in place. So, drafting from another model that is out there, I substituted the materials. I looked at the differentials of materials, the effect on the body, and that's how I came with the cotton and bamboo as part of that external. Bamboo is antimicrobial in its own natural form. Alpaca is antimicrobial, antibacterial, it's breathable. Those were the elements that I did not find in the other materials that are out there still. And it meant a lot to come to that. Creating the first 4 prototypes and having them out to individuals that I happened to know. It wasn't a call out at that time, and asking them for their unabridged reaction. How does this make you feel? What are the differences? How is this making you be able to live your best life? So there were different questions that I asked them, and I wanted the raw truth because that's how I work. There's no need sugarcoating anything. If there's a flaw that needed to be fixed at that very instant, I needed to know. So once that prototype was sealed the deal, if you will, I then brought it to someone who was a graduate from the Fredericton School of Design. And I had her look at it for commercialization and for productivity. Is this replicable? There were a few changes to the design that needed to be made so that neither one, so if you're a double, it doesn't matter. If you're a single, it didn't matter. I don't need that many versions of it because it is customizable to either side. So it's interchangeable. So once I landed on that design, I followed to a manufacturer here in Atlantic Canada. The story was compelling enough for them to be on board and to be the manufacturer of the Au Naturel material breast prostheses. And for that, I'm so grateful because it gave me the opportunity to put a call out on Facebook to breast cancer survivors. I had 100 prototypes that I had manufactured, and I wanted to have a larger bank of feedback. So I had a questionnaire, a pre-questionnaire, indicating what kind of surgery they had, what kind of prostheses they wore, what the comfort level was, and etc. So there were approximately 15 questions. It wasn't extraordinarily, but it was for me and the staff that I had to determine the viability of that individual to be able to wear the prostheses as it would be fully. So if it was a certain size, it would be a check mark. If it was another type of size, then it was a no-go because of the size that we had to work with. Once the prototype was out in the community and the feedback started coming back with our second feedback, which was about 60 questions. It was a fair bit, from packaging to the materials used to their own opinion about it and whatnot. That made a big difference to me because you speak to their heart. You speak to the emotional part of the individual when you look for those answers. You look for the feeling. And to me, feeling is everything. Feeling the freedom of that heaviness or the other issues that women were experiencing and being liberated from that was very much what people spoke of in those first, 50, I believe, individuals with 80 plus prostheses being sent. It meant a lot. So with that, I was able to really capture what this business could look like. And with a satisfaction rate of over 85%, I knew I was on something.
You said that one thing that shocked you was the realization of being a breast cancer survivor, even hugged differently. And that not only did you see it in your own life, but you saw it in others, and it actually really, really, there was a big reflection on that. Tell us about that.
Well, and as you know, Wayne and Bernie, I am an Acadian, French Acadian from Atlantic Canada, and we love our hugs. Are you a hugger? That's my first question when I see either a friend for the first time or an introduction is, are you a hugger? Do you mind if I give you a hug? Because I find that is the seal of the deal. You build your community, your family, your friends, and that is the extension of you. When you're hugging someone, you look at them eye to eye. There's nothing more that is spoken. And the connection of a hug is deep. And being able to hug without pain, which is what one breast prosthesis tester told me, was you gave my hug back. And at that point, I realized that the hug is more than a feeling. It's healing. Healing from within deeply and making those connections is what life is about.
So you obviously have client satisfaction and interest. You have a product. and you've made the product, you can manufacture it. What are the hurdles you're encountering now? Because you're now starting as a small business, right, in the manufacturing industry, in a prosthetic market. What challenges have you encountered, or what things have you found easy, or have you had a mentor? So it's a threefold question in there. So I apologize. Well, one, like, yeah, that worked out really well. Didn't expect that. Oh, that held me back. And did you get advice from somebody?
I got a lot of advice over the years, and some I took, some I didn't, some were right, and some were just not at the right time. And I think that in itself makes it difficult to make decisions when mentors who have certain strengths may have come in a little too early in my process and trying to think ahead, trying to, making sure that there was a intellectual property patent on this before really going out with it. So that, some of the challenges are financial. Having a Health Canada approval as a Class 1 medical device is also a process that needed to be followed. So making sure that those things are in place were far beyond where I was at the time. But I knew the importance of that because of what the product is. It is a medical device. It helps women and individuals with the need. And that's the whole principle behind this. Understanding where this product fits in all of that is in life sciences. And life sciences is difficult to get into. You have the long, everlasting silicone and polyester that are out there, and that's what women have been prescribed. So it's about a change in mindset, if you will, that natural materials doesn't mean that everybody is going to want it. Silicone and polyester will always be there. But natural materials is the new kid in town, and it really needs the attention to grow. And the more I speak to the first point of contact in postoperative care, the more I see the acceptance of the comfort and confidence. In challenging the norm would not have been how I did things because it's just not who I am. But understanding the depth of need and how women tolerate what they are provided because it makes them look normal. It makes them look balanced. I'm not looking to replace someone's breast. That's not it. I'm just wanting women to have confidence in how their clothing drape. And by having symmetry and having a comfortable hug, I think I've done my duty.
So being male, we're sort of semi-clueless right off the bat. But I'll risk a question just to show my level of ignorance. This prosthesis fits in a bra.
Correct.
So what makes it not clothing but a medical device?
The same as the other prostheses. The other silicone and polyester prostheses are considered a medical device.
Right.
So they call it replace, but it's not really replacing. It's to supplement a surgical procedure that has deformed your natural appearance. So if you had an amputation of an arm, a prosthetic for the arm is a medical device.
Yes.
Not that it's any bit of the same, but it is an amputation or a removal of tissue. So that is the best way to explain. And when you look at the criteria and the wording in the medical device establishment license, it fits and it's there for that reason. And by having it,
Insured?
it is.
It goes through health care?
Going to go there, yes. So it is insured to the level in which you have coverage. So breast prostheses are covered. Some provincial plans cover. Some cover to a certain amount. Other provinces do not cover. And again, it's by the provincial regulations on their formularies that determine the type of coverage.
One thing that we talk about medical devices, and this we've had medical device specialists on in the past, and this either was or probably still is a fairly male enclave. Have you felt much sexism in being either dismissed or misunderstood or talked down to, or is that actually changing?
I really don't believe so. I was part of and am part of a fairly large bio community, and I've spoken to primarily male. And my question to them, or my statement to them, is we all know women, grandmothers, mothers, sisters, aunts, daughters. What percent of these male in those groups know of someone who has had breast cancer, know what these individuals, women, have gone through for their survival? Some of the individuals that I've spoken to have broke down and said, now I understand. Now I understand why my grandmother had constant pain, was this type of character. I now understand that. And even seeing the change in women after breast cancer and treatment is unbelievable. Listening to the stories of these survivors who are just looking to be normal and to feel like themselves again. I know that no matter what happens, their comfort and their confidence is of the utmost importance in my eye. And that comes from my empathy to their cause, to their well-being, and being one of the same.
Where you are at now, you have a product, and you have, there are the clients out there. You have a recognized device, a prosthetic medical device. What are you seeking next to get the product out further? Obviously, you're in Canada, and we only have a few thousand miles across the country. What are your next steps? What are you looking for? Distributors? Are you looking for medical houses, or are you looking for the pharmacy chain to kind of go, there we go, or the specialty one? Like there's CPAP machines out there, right? And in that same vein, there are also then that have the prosthetics. What are your next steps?
For me, it's providing to the first point of contact care providers. So the massage therapies, the physiotherapy, to bring awareness of what my product offers. I am speaking to some massage therapists, and actually we're in a program in one of the top breast cancer clinics in Canada, and we're doing a trial there. It's being well received, very well received. Now it's just a matter of finishing the questionnaires. So whether it's in the hospitals, in pharmacies, in clinics, the main avenue that I'm looking to get into is really that first point of contact. And mostly that comes from nurses. The surgeons are there, absolutely. The doctors are there, the radiologists are there, like the whole ensemble is there. But the caretaker, in the most part, are the nurses of oncology. And having an access there, which I am working on, will be able to open up some of the conversations that need to take place about where it's best suited. And just having the product out there is not a solution. It has to get into the hands of the individuals who need it. So being a large manufacturer of a product that just sits on a shelf is not a solution. It is to a certain degree, but you also need advocacy. You need promotion for what the product does. And if it's simply being able to allow women to live their life to the fullest, that's what I'm doing. And there's so many things to understand about breast cancer as well. Oh, there's over 2 million women diagnosed every year globally. It's an inflammatory illness or disease. So the hotter the weather, that can be an instigator because of the elevation of hormones. That's one part. A lot of the other things that affect hormone or cause endocrine disruption are in our environment as well. So statistically, 85% of women have a form of hormonal disruption in their breast cancer. So that's 85% of that 2 million diagnosed, and approximately 1.7 million individuals every year that will survive are estrogen affected. So their levels of estrogen are not where they should be. So by knowing that, it's how do you get to them? How do you, as a manufacturer of something that is different than what has been out there before, how do you make that headway? And people are living longer with breast cancer now.
We get a lot of American guests. So we often hear about American models in healthcare. Is there a class distinction does the middle or upper middle class get results quicker or awareness quicker than, let's say, some of the lower socioeconomic groups, accidentally or on purpose? I'm not judging. I'm just saying, does it follow along the class line at all?
I think to a certain degree, there could be because of how internet is accessible, to the middle class, the upper class. The lower class may have more of a challenge in getting to the root of what they're looking for because of accessibility. So by having individuals such as first point of contact care providers for post-surgical needs, then it doesn't matter what your social or economic level is. You go through the same process, whether I'm here on the financials or down here. You have to go through surgery, you go through the hospitals, et cetera, et cetera. As far as country of, that can be different. But I think by having it in the first point of contact for post-operative mastectomy and lumpectomy care, especially for breast cancer, having that exposure would be amazing.
So are you looking to target then you mentioned massage therapists, for example, so and every province has their own association, right? You'll have that for the physicians, you'll have that probably for the oncologists, and also other segments where it would make sense to do that kind of cross introduction. So are you looking for that, or are you looking for the people that are the suppliers of medical prosthetics and have them offer that product? Or are you doing it as a two-prong effect to get the deeper and wider message out there? And you also have mentioned the green sustainability piece. Does that play a role in that whole piece also?
Right. There's so many elements to look at with this. And at the moment, I am the company. I am what's the wheels and the cogs of the company. So making those decisions is difficult. Knowing where to go with this or having the right connections is difficult. It's about building the partnership that I need to take this further than I can ever take it. I think, and I believe, it's not I think, I believe that the right partnership and the right connections into that medical area is key, not only for this business's success, but all businesses that deal with breast cancer. You need the foothold in order to be able to be sustainable, to get to market, and to make the real impact, whether it's through a distribution chain, whether it's through another breast prostheses company that sees this as an opportunity. That's okay. The end user is what I look at. That's where the success is.
Simonne, not all our guests, but a lot of our guests have, at the end of the day, a widget that if you want to buy my widget, call me. You're not in that category by any means. But if you've twigged something, you rang some bell, they want to know more, they want to see if they can help, they want to know, does this even apply? How do they get a hold of you the easiest?
Well, on my website, www.aunaturelsolutions, AUNATUREL solutions.com. There is information about the prostheses. The contact information is there. The 1-866-603-1143. They can call me directly, and they can reach me at Cormier, CORMIER, at aunaturelsolutions.com. That's my direct email. And I'm always grateful when you, Bernie, or Wayne ask these difficult questions because it gets me thinking even deeper into the purpose and the reason. And for me, as I've stated throughout this whole interview and throughout the whole process, it's not about me. It's about others. It's about bringing that comfort and confidence, which, by the way, is the name of the product, to life, to let women and others who have the need to live in freedom and to live their life fully. Without that, it's a struggle.
Simonne, just a quick question. What does the product retail for?
It retails all sizes. There's no discrimination on if you're a small or a double XL. It's the same price. For a partial, which is maybe someone who's had a lumpectomy, who doesn't need the full, I call it the slant and the swoop. If you don't need all this full top, you might be able to, but our sizing guides will guide you. So the partial is $250 Canadian, and the full is $300 Canadian each. So per prostheses. There are 5 sizes, 2 styles, and currently there's 2 colors. There's the ivory and the black. There's other colors that will come as the business comes to the next level, and with iterations, and this is the first iteration. This is the baby of the business right now, and I am so proud to be able to give women their hug back.
I want to say thank you to Simonne Cormier and my co-host Wayne Pratt, and you, the Knack for Business listeners. And again, just to kind of recap on Simonne's story, when a person says they can hug without a barrier, it means everything to that person, especially when that is part of the style of connecting with people, right? So that's kind of a really big piece. And Simonne herself is a breast cancer survivor, and she understands the gaps in the recovery system and what has worked and not worked. If this story has piqued your interest, either from someone who needs the product, someone who thinks this product would do well within their space for their clients, for their patients, reach out to Simonne. She's more than willing to help.
To reach the podcast hosts, email them at info@creativeinsight.com or by the website creativeinsight.com, spelled KREATIVISIGHT.com. To reach Wayne at his email, wayne@motive8u.ca, that is MOTIVE, the numeral 8 and the letter u.ca, or his website, motive8u.ca. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and share your knowledge, let us know. We would also appreciate your feedback on the content or format. Check the show notes for more details. For these podcasts, we like to acknowledge the support and thanks to the following people. Carl Richards from Podcast Solutions Made Simple, a renowned podcast expert. Fred Crouch, who is the Property Wizard podcaster, where Bernie is a co-host. Jovan Strika from At Hive, a co-working space that is more than just a space. Then Melanie Weber, Bernie's invaluable business partner, and Wayne Pratt from Motive8U Inc., who serves as both a coach and co-host of these podcasts. Disclaimer. Please note that the Knack for Business podcast episodes are meant solely for educational and general informational purposes. The information and opinions contained within are not intended to be professional advice on any subject matter. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the participants are their own personal beliefs and do not represent the views of the podcast hosts or any affiliated organizations. It is important to note that this podcast is not a replacement for consulting with certified experts in your area who possess knowledge of your unique situation. The hosts of the podcast, along with any participants or affiliated groups, do not take responsibility for any actions taken or not taken based on the information presented in this episode. It is highly recommended that individuals seek guidance from their own personal advisors in fields such as accounting, law, or other pertinent areas prior to undertaking any actions or making decisions that may impact their financial, legal, or other aspects of life.